Sara, 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 Sara all. Sara, 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 Sara all. Sara, 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 Sara all. Sara, 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 Sara all. Wait lang guys Obvious na medyo bugbog din tayo sa sa biyahe. Dark naman dito. Lalo tayong pumangit. Sara, 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 Sara all. Sara, Sara. Sara, 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 Sara all. Sara, 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 Sara all. Yan. Okay, mag-live na tayo guys. Kahit sa bugitsura natin. Okay. Shampoo pa natin. Yan. Buenos dias. Buenas noches. Kamusta everyone? ¿Cómo estás? I hope you had a restful weekend. Andito na po tayo live from Campeones de Europa. Campeones de Europa, the new champions of Europe. Viva España. Andito po tayo. Ayun na, pumasok na. Mamaya na, Julia. Campeones de Europa. So congratulations sa España for winning this year's championship sa Europe. Buti nga dumating tayo dito sa Spain ng medyo konting right after the match, although dahil delayed yung flight natin, kaya tingnan bugbog yung itsura natin. Dahil delayed yung flight natin, nakarating tayo. I mean, I was able to catch at least yung first half na 0-0 pa. But just to play safe, just to play safe, sabi ko, eto na lang suotin ko, di ba? Netherlands Cup. Sabi ko, suot ako ng Netherlands Cup. Just in case lang, di ba? Kasi ang problema, dito sa lugar na binibisita natin, although nasa Espanya yan, karamihan ng mga turista dito ay mga Briton, no? British. At kagabi, pagdating ko pa lang dito, grabe, ang dami nila, nakalabas silang lahat. At nagwawala sila, lasing sila, bad trip sila. Of course, ito yung mga English, di ba? It's coming home sila na it's coming home, pero hindi pa rin sila nakalusot. And I think Spain really got a much deserving victory, having close to 70% of possession throughout the game. Mas marami silang attacks, mas marami silang shoots on target, mas marami silang shots in total. So I think Spain got a much deserved victory, and I think this is their fourth victory na. So that means that Spain now is the most successful country pagdating sa European Championship. And you know, with no offense sa ibang continents, I think Copa America is really exciting. Very passionate. I'm sad to see that Messi got that injury. I'm really sad, but I'm glad that at least he got another victory. So kagabi we saw a very interesting phenomenon, no? Or actually kanina lang, the early morning in US time, we saw an outgoing legend, Lionel Messi, winning yet another championship, defending champions of Copa America. And then at the same time, of course, we saw, I mean, Yamin Yamal, I mean, my man, like the best talaga. So yung Campeones de Europa naman ngayon is such a young team, and the just turned 17-year-old Yamal is had the highest assists, I think 4 assists dito to everyone. You know, wait lang kasi sorry na disconnect. Kudus, okay, kudus sa all the teams that made the finals so exciting. Kudos to England. I think they put a good fight, a valiant fight, 2-1. Nakahabol pa sila sa second. I mean, this was the story of European Championship, no? And at the same time, of course, also congratulations also to Colombia for putting such a fantastic game. Now, obviously, how I wish football was the only thing that was keeping me awake. But as you know, guys, of course, fino-follow din natin. In fact, just seconds after nangyari yung assassination attempt kay Donald Trump, I saw already footage, reports coming out, and I saw this. Akala ko fake news, akala ko hanash lang yan, akala ko ano lang yan, disinformation yan. But this was coming from quite credible sources. And then legit media and outlets ano nakalagay lang Trump injured in a rally in Pennsylvania, etc. And then I was looking for videos. And next thing you know, the videos were coming out. But I said, who knows? Baka deep fake yan. Baka hindi totoo yan. But immediately I saw CNBC and MSNBC among others also releasing videos at na-confirm talaga na there was indeed an assassination attempt on former president and now the current frontrunner, clear frontrunner to be the next president of the United States again, Donald Trump. Obviously, it remains to be seen what will be the turn of events. It will remain to be seen if it's inevitable that Donald Trump will return to the White House. Of course, there's going to be rallying around the flag phenomenon. Of course, there's gonna be ayan na, I mean, Trump can position himself as kind of like a victim, no? Parang siya nang victim niyan, 'di ba? Yung person na was just convicted for multiple felonies, a person who's being under investigation for his role or alleged role dun sa January 6 events back in 2020. Someone who's been accused of being a purveyor of fake news and disinformation. Someone who's been accused of being a vehicle of hate and grievance-based politics. Someone who's been accused of essentially energizing the far right in the US is now a victim. Is now a victim. I mean, obviously nakita natin na early on, ang daming lumalabas na sinasabi na ano lang yan, ito yung Reichstag fire. Just to give you a little bit of history, so the way the far right and the Nazis came to power in Germany, I'm not saying they're the same, but I'm just saying, so just to give you a history bakit Reichstag fire. So one reason na naging elected leader si Hitler, Chancellor Hitler back then, was because there was a fire in the Reichstag. This is the main government building in Germany, and that was blamed on the leftists, on the communists, and based on that, Hitler was able to essentially institute draconian laws that paved the way for his consolidation of power and the creation of a horrible, scary regime, fascistic regime that oversaw deaths of tens of millions of people, including millions of Jews, millions of Slavic peoples, and essentially contributed to the Second World War. No, so the Reichstag fire since then has become essentially a kind of a parang yun yung sinasite parate ng mga critics when they feel that right-wing elements are going to use the crisis to create a new political order. Now, in the case of the Philippines, if you remember, Enrile, right? Enrile was accused, or Enrile at some point implied, if I'm not mistaken, na yung Plaza Miranda bombing, that provide in the early 1970s that provided the ground for declaration of martial law. Na may mga nagsasabi, and there are some studies and reports that suggest na gawa-gawa lang yan. So in short, we have throughout history, from Germany to pre-martial law Philippines, cases whereby you have staged violence, it's blame on the other side, and then that's used as a basis for creating dictatorship, right? So immediately we saw a lot of leftists, a lot of anti-Trump people using the assassination attempt to say na stage lang yan, to say na gawa-gawa lang nila yan, and the fact na hindi natamaan directly si Trump, sinabi nila na ano lang yan, scripted lang yan. But interestingly, a lot of people are analyzing the footages, including a photo that shows a bullet just passing by really, really closely by Trump, say that mukhang malabo na ano yan, staged yan. Kasi he was really saved. He was really saved really by a whisker, less than a whisker. For Trump, obviously, he sees something almost, he saw divine intervention. Other people also saw, of course, a terrorist, an assassin who just didn't know what to do. But nevertheless, as we wait for more investigation, because just to be very clear about this, so the way the security works is that there are three tiers when you have a very important person giving a speech, a presidential candidate, a former president. So you have the Secret Service, who's the first tier, immediately around sila yung cordon sanitaire and the essentially the Praetorian guards around the candidate. There's a second tier that covers a medium range. Yun yung mga local law enforcement officials. And then there's a third tier. Ito yung mga snipers and experts. Now, of course, we saw some of the footages whereby the sniper guy is seen, having a moment of pause and then shooting at the assassin, no, at the terrorist, at the assassin who was eventually neutralized. Now, there are a lot of conspiracy theories around this. Some people on the right are accusing the Secret Service of not doing its job, accusing the government of not doing enough in order to protect Donald Trump. You have Peskov, the spokesman of Kremlin, of Putin, also blaming the Biden administration for creating a climate of hate around Trump. So that's the right wing attack. The right wing is blaming the current Democrats and administration for creating climate of hate, contributing to climate of hate, or not doing enough to protect Donald Trump. And then there are far right people, far right people, who are essentially saying that this is sila nang umatak. So of course, yung point of reference nila. So we see from both left and right, there are different conspiracy theories. On the left naman, they're saying this is a Reichstag fire situation, this is staged, etc., which looks very unlikely based on the analysis and footages we're seeing. On the other hand, on the right-wing side naman, nakita natin na they're blaming the administration, Biden, they're blaming Secret Service, they're blaming... So both sides are coming up with their conspiracies. But I think we really have to wait and look at... so one of the things we have to see in here who seem to have spotted, because may mga audience na interview ng BBC, 'di ba? Na sabi nila nakita nila yung guy na umakyat at naglalagay ng sniper. So we have to know about how effective was the communication between the mid-tier, which is the local enforcement officials, and the Secret Service, and then particularly also the communication with the sniper guy who eventually spotted the would-be failed assassin. So unless we have some sort of evidence, no, ano ba yung nature ng communications, it's hard to give a definitive final say. And unfortunately, while the investigations are not, fully out there, ang nakakatakot dito, guys, is each side is gonna come up with their own conspiracy theories. So the far left is gonna say this is a staged event to make Trump supposedly hero, and then the other side is gonna blame the government, blame the Democrats, blame whoever is against Trump as essentially either inciting this, contributing to this, or directly organizing this. So nakakatakot yung situation na yan. And honestly, I don't see how this is gonna bring down the temperature. Although, to be fair, Donald Trump released a statement yesterday kung saan he said na, this is time for unity, this is time. So, and that is okay and everything's fine and everything's gonna push through. So, hopefully that contributes to bring down the temperature. But looking at how defiant Trump was, diba, at the moment of shooting, after he was ushered off the stage, ang tanong ngayon is Donald Trump gonna go all out and say, see, they're really after me and they want to really take me down literally? And when he says they, na very amorphous yung kalaban in the whole MAGA world, right? And if you follow QAnon, all of this deep state argument, all of this cabal argument, it's scary. It's really scary. It can go all over the place. So all of us are gonna watch very carefully in the coming hours ano yung maging speech ni Trump dun sa convention as he becomes officially crowned as crowned, because it's essentially the Republican Party is a Trump party nowadays, as he gets crowned as their nominee. Although of course he won more than 2,000 delegates, it was never even close with the others. Nikki Haley, the others are not even worth mentioning anymore. Okay, fine. DeSantis, Vivek Ramaswamy. Okay, now going back to this, let's see what the speech of Donald Trump would be. Again, I won't be surprised that he will remain quote unquote statesman-like through the week, but the MAGA world is already on conspiracy theory overdrive now, and I think Trump will eventually respond to that in one way or another. And honestly, I don't see how Trump is not gonna accept anything less than victory come November. And imagine kung hindi siya manalo sa November, what will be his rhetoric? What will be his supporters' statement? And I'm feeling ko nga, this assassination attempt broke yet another psychological barrier, created yet another dangerous precedence after the January 6th event in 2020. So the attack on the Congress during certification of the election outcome, now this assassination attempt against Trump. I mean, it gives you these vibes of 1960s when you had all of these scary things, political violence erupting all across America. So again, I think everyone has to hope for the best. You know, whether you're American or not, if America's in trouble, it's gonna have reverberations all around the world. All of us have family and relatives in the United States. I regularly visit the United States. I've been from South Carolina to Georgia to Stanford to Berkeley to DC throughout the year. Multiple trips to the United States. I hope to go back soon to the United States again, also to cover the elections among others. And then we're a U.S. ally. And if U.S. is weak, that's going to encourage Russia. That's going to encourage China, and that's not good for the Philippines. That's not good for Taiwan. That's not good for Ukraine, so on and so forth. Yes, one of you mentioned Reagan. In the case of Reagan, I think he had a 20-point jump right after the failed assassination attempt. But eventually that plateaued. But still, he won it. He won things. So I won't be surprised if the surveys show that there could be some temporary bump for Trump, especially because now almost all Republicans are going to vote for Trump. There's the rallying around the flag effect. And on Biden's side, ang laki ng problema niya ngayon. I think on Biden's side, mahirapan siya ngayon to attack Trump as an enemy of democracy and all of that because Trump is now a victim, the victim for that matter, and a champion in the eyes of a lot of Americans, among others, the way he defied death, essentially, right? In the aftermath of the event the other day. So nakakatakot ito. And let me just connect this to the Philippines. Sorry, because I have to go. Pagalitan tayo ng cousin natin na nakakatakot ito because now like anything is possible na, guys. It's a crazy world. Just invasion of Ukraine, presidents dying here and there, assassination attempt on Donald Trump. I mean, we're living in a very uncertain, scary world right now. And that is why I said, guys, this is no time for bad jokes. So whatever Sarah was saying that the other day, designated survivor, and I think almost everyone saw it the way, some of us saw it, which is, was that a kind of an implicit bad joke threat or more? This is not a time to make any bad jokes. All right? I don't know kung nagjo-joke si Sarah or not, pero yun yung dating sa ibang tao. And let's be honest, she's not very witty. She's not a good speaker. She's not very articulate. So, she's not even like Digong level of articulate, right? So, this is not a time for stupid jokes. This is not a time for glorifying or romanticizing violence or political violence or taking things into your own hands and vigilante politics and all of that. Nakakatakot talaga ngayon, guys. So honestly, this is a time that we have to all step back and think about the implications of our toxic political discourse. Because last time I checked, it's not the United States the only country that has this toxic situation. And by the way, in Brazil, when Bolsonaro won, almost a decade ago, he won after sinaksak siya during the election period, and he survived that, and eventually he won the race. So I wouldn't be surprised if Trump also comes out of this as victorious. But for me, the worrying thing is this toxic polarization everywhere in all major democracy, whether it's in France, whether it's in United States, whether it's in Brazil, and also in the Philippines. So my point here is, it is okay for us to disagree. It is okay for us to support different candidates in different parties. But let's not forget, at the end of the day, kababayan tayo. Let's not forget, at the end of the day, we are rivals, or we are citizens with different points of views. We're citizens with different ideological orientation or visions for the country. But we're not enemies. We're not enemies. So ang pinaka nakakatakot dito is when people dehumanize the other side. Far right in the U.S. demonizing the other side. The leftist people in the U.S. saying the other side are all a bunch of this and that, diba? I have my issues with MAGA. I have my issues also with some people in the far left, right? I have my issues with all sorts of extremism. But what's scary right now is the center is weakening. decent discourse is collapsing. Mainstream institutions, all of them are under attack. Mainstream institutions are not perfect, but there were kind of like the glue that was holding the whole thing together. Once the center collapses, for all its failures and shortcomings, I have I mean, like, I have so many issues with mainstream media, with mainstream politicians, with everything, daming katrapuan. But when the mainstream collapses, it's the extremes who take over. And when the extremes take over, it's so scary. Okay, I think what we have to do in any democracy around the world, not only in America, is just to detox things a little bit, to bring down the temperature a little bit. Because the other day, we just came very close to a major candidate, potentially the next American president, and a foreign president getting killed. Imagine the explosion, the civil war level of explosion that would have happened. But still, no one is out of the woods yet. The US is not out of the woods yet. I just don't think Trump will accept anything short of victory in November. And what if he doesn't win? And what if he wins? So, isa sa mga nag-trending the other day was Project 2025. So, we are living in dangerous, uncertain times. The best we can do right now is to restore an element of sanity to our discourse, stop demonizing people, especially mga kababayan natin, whether we're your fellow Americans, your fellow Filipinos, your fellow Brazilians. Do not demonize them, okay? You disagree with them, it's okay. All right, that's why I'm saying I welcome everyone being part of our conversations. DDS, loyalist, whatever. I disagree with you on many issues. Especially with DDS, I deeply disagree on a lot of issues. With loyalists, matagal lang kami may debate because I come from the North. Even with Dilawan, I have a lot of disagreements. But let's not demonize each other. This is very dangerous. Kaya ako, whenever I saw, whether Dilawan, whether DDS, make any statement that kind of called for violence against anyone, including yours truly, I called them out. May isang walang yung pa-leftist woke na isa dyan na was joking about something violent against yours truly. I called that person out. Buti nga nasa mood ako, others I would have pushed that person to be expelled from UP. Taga UP Los Baños sa ating yung mga walang yang yan, di ba? Don't make stupid jokes. Period. This is not the time for stupid jokes. Things are scary right now. Everyone is on the edge, not only in the US. US is worse situation because they have guns and everything, but all around the world, everyone is on the edge right now. So if you want to be a responsible citizen, if you want to be a responsible politician, you want to be a responsible leader and thought leader especially, contribute to bringing down tensions and detoxifying things until we figure out what on earth is going on here. What on earth is going on here? Things are really bad, but I think everyone is on the edge. And this year's US elections will probably be the most polarized, if not one of the most violent in contemporary US history since the 1960s, probably. And my fear is that what happens in the US will have ripple effects all around the world. And if US is weak, that's going to strengthen China, strengthen Russia and other revisionist powers. And if as the US loses any kind of pretension to becoming ability to pretend even to be a global leader in terms of democracy. I mean, is there anyone who still looks up to US political system nowadays? Seriously, like will anyone take US seriously when they talk about democracy and civility and pluralism? Right? Wala na moral ascendance in the US. But my point is that it can get way worse than this. So that's why we have to care about what's happening there. We have to also care about what's happening in our country. Because nakakatakot ngayon. Yung nangyari sa US, ginagaya dito. Ginagaya ng mga leftists, ginagaya ng mga right-wing, marami rin mga maga-maga sa Pilipinas, marami mga, alam mo na, mga fanatiko sa Pilipinas, kaya nakakatakot sa situation. So in that world, let's do what we do, guys. Critical thinking, critical discourse, medyo nagpapatawa, humor is very important kasi minsan it brings down the political temperature. Alam ko maraming hindi nagsang-ayon sa akin, problema na yan. Pero dahil sa humor natin, it makes things easier. It makes things easier. So let's bring more humor, good intention in, and let's push back against toxification. Let's push back against demonization. On that note, maraming salamat. Mabuhay po kayo, mabuhay ang Pilipinas, and talk to you soon. Salamat po. God bless po.